Hello, welcome back to Up the Villa. On today's episode, we're going to be talking about England's new attack for the World Cup. Watkins, Rogers, Sancho and Elliott. Matthew, how you doing?
All good, mate. All good. I'm pleased that the international break has arrived.
Well, we need it, don't we, to just get a bit loose, just get these signings just relaxed, and two of them,
I know.
Elliott and Sancho will be
Yeah.
working with Emery, understanding his tactics and stuff. But are you kind of getting like Martin O'Neill vibes here? Remember when we had Agbonlahor, Heskey, Downing, Milner? I'm kind of getting like them vibes from Villa at the minute with that front four.
Yeah, there's some front four that's been assembled, and you could argue that Asensio and Rashford, in some sense, have been replaced now in terms of Elliott's creativity around Asensio and Sancho not bursting with pace, but has that little bit of pace and can beat player one-on-one, replacing Rashford. So it's in a sense, it's like to like. Have we got a better deal this time around compared to Asensio and Rashford? Only time will tell.
Yeah, it's a good point, to be fair. What do we think, like the two compared together then? Asensio and Rashford, or Elliott and Sancho?
Yeah,
Like I feel like the first one's got more just like it's just got more like it's got more flair and sort of exposure as a sort of like a personality of a two. But I actually feel like Sancho and Elliott could benefit us a lot more with the system. I think I look at Elliott and I think how we're crying out for someone like finding Watkins, finding Rogers, being quite technical on the ball. And then Sancho, like you say, not blisteringly quick, but doesn't give the ball away, dribbles really well, can drag players towards him, which should free up more space. So I think it's going to be interesting to see how it pans out. But what did you sort of make of signing Sancho and Elliott?
yes. I mean, if there's two players that you probably could have picked that we probably could have gone and get, you would have said them two. He's definitely happy with them two. I think Elliott has been a bit part player for Liverpool, and you could argue Sancho at Chelsea was. I think Sancho played around 30 games, didn't he, last season at Chelsea in the Premier League, and 40 in total. So both bit part players with bags of potential and lots to prove.
Yeah, I spoke to a Chelsea fan today, and he was saying that Sancho was really good at the start of his Chelsea season last year, and he tailed off a little bit towards the end, and he had spells where he was unplayable, and then had spells where he was a little bit inconsistent. But I look at Sancho's numbers, and I think, I think the media. I saw something like that the Athletic did, and they did about 150 targets from the summer signings, and they put him about 140. Like they put him like really low down. But I actually feel like if you actually look at his numbers, so key passes is averaging 1.2 per 90, 80% passing accuracy in the opposition half, 53% successful dribbles, carries into the penalty areas in the top 8% of wingers. I kind of feel like he gets a bit of, what would you say, criticism or a bit of disrespect, because I don't think he's as bad as what gets made out for him to be.
Yeah, I mean, look at Chelsea. Had so many players last season, so he's very much a rotational player. He's probably a lad that needs the arm around the shoulder. You know what I mean? He needs a consistent run of games. He needs to be he'll feel important. He's at Villa. I feel like he's the main guy, and that's probably where we're going to see him flourish. I mean, you look at in Dortmund for such a young lad. When he was in Dortmund, he was probably the main man along Erling Haaland. And that's how he flourished, really. So I think he had a consistent run of games, scored a load of goals, assists, and I think Sancho down the Villa, he's going to be a player for moments as well. I mean, you remember Yannick Bolasie down the Villa, and he didn't have a great Villa career at all, did he? But everyone remembers him, Megan Luke Ayling and that. So I think, yeah, he's been a player for moments. I mean, Rashford loved the Megs. I can see Sancho megging a few players, and that's what football's all about. And these players that can produce moments, they might not have the most goals, most assists, but yeah, we want it'll definitely get us up off our seat when he megs a few players.
Yeah, and I feel like we've had Coutinho, and we never had a Coutinho blaster, did we? He never found the top bins. Rashford, he never had one either, but he's got it in his locker. Sancho, I think we're crying out for and Elliott can hit them, to be fair. We're crying out for these players now to really find like the back of the net from distance. So Sancho then as well. England career, his last appearance was in 2021. He got 2 assists in his last appearance against Andorra. Do you think the doors closed with such a short time now until the World Cup, or do you think that he could potentially make it?
No, if Morgan Rogers keeps playing as bad as he does at the minute, then I can see him, Sancho stepping in and take his. I did think that in that interview actually. I think Morgan, like, these lads are coming in like trying to get in the England squad. If you're not very good at football over the next 6 to 8 to 12 months or whatever it may be, like, these are going to take you up as place your position. So yeah, he's definitely got to step up. And then you mentioned like Andorra getting 2 assists. I mean, it's Andorra, isn't it? I mean, Jesus Christ, part-time non-league team. But yeah, it's no. I don't know if we can comparison that. You can probably think about Andorra probably played a bit of a low block that night, so he's good in tight spaces, good areas. We could have done with both of Sancho and Elliott against Palace. I mean, that low block that Palace were playing is in the car park at the North Stand half forward times. So yeah.
Yeah, we did struggle to sort of break them down. We went quite long a lot, but sort of thinking about, I think it's good to sometimes think about the bad side of Villa. So, I mean, pretty much the first 3 games, but where do you see these two fitting in there? Me and Earl did a show and we think they could both play either side or flip it. But what would you say is ideal situation for, say, Elliott and Sancho? And do you see them both starting games together?
Yes, I do. It's Sancho on. I think Sancho on the right, Elliott in the 10, and then Rogers on the left, and then Watkins up front. I think that's our strongest front 4, and then you've got Gesson who can play on the left, and then you've got Marlon who can play on the right and up front, and then Rogers can quickly switch into the middle of the park. So yeah, I think that will be our strongest front 4, and it's going to be super interesting to see how these lads link up. I knew we was hammering Rogers on fan cams and that and whatnot, but I do think there is. I don't think there is a relationship on the pitch between Rogers and Watkins. I generally don't think that. If you think back really hard now, you think how many times these 2 lads actually link up. You won't be able to think. You won't be able to think. Oh, yeah, them 2 were linking up the other night really well. They didn't, and then when Asensio and Rashford, and all of a sudden Rogers comes to life a little bit, starts linking up with them, both of them. So I do generally think more that Sancho and Elliott are on the same wavelength as Morgan. So you could definitely see the best of probably Morgan Rogers having someone else to bounce off the link up as, and then Watkins can just, I don't know, stand on the penalty spot and just tap them in and stay away from everyone.
we hope he taps them in. Elliott then for England. I mean, he's under 21. He played with the tournament, wasn't he? So he was absolutely fantastic. But this is a big moment in his career, isn't it? Because he's been at Liverpool and he's been on the bench a lot, but he's contributed a lot. He's won the Premier League. Mo Salah did a brilliant tweet about him saying how good he was and that he'll thrive at Villa, etc. So it is a big move, but do you think he'll be able to sort of own it and become that consistent player? Because he's very consistent off the bench, but we now need to see him like being really consistent across 90 minutes in consecutive games.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think what we're going to see from Elliott, and he's led teams, he's been the captain of the England under-21, so he's very much a leader. And we generally needed that type of player against Palace. the opportunity was there for Rodgers or whoever to get we're not playing well, so we need a maverick. You need someone to take the game by its neck really and kick it on. So you can see when we're struggling or when we need a moment of brilliance, and we're not very good at football or whatever it may be. You can see Harvey Elliott producing that moment. And that's what we're generally crying out for. Like you can't have your same way. You can't play well every single game. We played terrible against Palace. Let's be honest, really bad. But we still we didn't have that player that could produce that moment out of somewhere. And definitely Elliott has that. I mean, if you look at that England game, was it against the Netherlands or whatever it is, and he just got the game by the scruff of the neck, like just beat two players, takes two players out of the game, puts the ball in the back of the net. That's them kind of maverick things that we're missing and crying out for when the games are really tight or Villa ain't having a good day or
Yeah, I mean, you could have said we could have done with something like that against Brentford away. I mean, you look at, say, like Palace in certain games when Eze can just step up, when he used to just step up and put one in, and you know, that type of player that can just do that. I think you're spot on, really, and I think it's kind of just sometimes being that little bit unpredictable. England are playing at Villa Park this weekend. What are you making of England under Tuchel? Are you liking it, or do you think it's just a bit up in the air a bit?
I was a massive fan of it when he first came in. I thought, yes, okay, a manager for big moments. You know what I mean? So how have we missed out on other opportunities or the World Cup, Euros, and that? It's like Southgate bottling big moments. Now there's a squad there that can get us to these big moments, and you think Tuchel, with his experience, will have the know-how to make decisions in big games. I mean, we can all make decisions against Andorra or whoever it may be, making subs at the 60th minute, not really changing anything, or accidentally going into a back three when we should stay as a back four, whatever it may be. But yeah, I generally think it hasn't been a great start, has it? But he's trying to find a team just to win a few games of football in that World Cup. We're not trying to build anything. We're not trying to develop youngsters. You can forget about stuff like that. That's why Henderson's in the squad at the moment, and I think that's good. That's really good with all of his experience and that. I think he should be in there, and it should be in and around the dressing room. And you just keep him happy by giving him a little 5 minutes here, 5 minutes there, and that. But yeah, I generally do think it's a good appointment. It's a good appointment, and I generally think we probably do have a good chance of doing something with him. Like I say, he's just a man for the big occasion, man for the big moments. And I don't know, a lot of international teams are looking really strong. I mean, bloody hell, France, they've got just endless talent, and it's like a conveyor belt. It's absolutely
But they
mental.
always look so
What's coming out there?
Yeah, they look so settled as well, though. That's the thing.
Yeah,
Like, they just
yeah,
look a well-oiled machine that rock up. And I think
yeah.
Tuchel, I think he's probably like finding his way a little bit with managing a team like England, because I imagine it's quite difficult to not actually play that many games. You know, he's used to being a manager that's like a club manager that's game, and now he's just watching more football than he's probably managing his team. And I think he's just kind of wanting to get to the World Cup, because I think he knows that that's where he'll come alive, really.
Yeah. I mean, how long's his deal for? Is it like 18 months or something like that? It's not a
I
long one,
think
is
so,
it?
yeah.
He's just been brought in just to get that kind of monkey off our back and
Win the World Cup.
repeat 666 really. Yeah. So
It's not
I
not an
mean,
easy task, is it?
yeah. I mean, yeah, it's a good appointment as well when you think about it. Like, if he's just for 18 months, whoever comes in after him, it can just easily pick up the reins. And if we've got to redevelop youth, if we've realised we've got to that point where we're not quite good enough to win the World Cup, yes, we had a world class manager, but we fell short for X, Y, Z. Then we can kind of do a little rebuild from there. But I do think now this is probably the squad, the time to really potentially do something at the World Cup.
Who's stood out for you in the Premier League so far?
Oh, good question. I think the team that's probably stood out, and I hate to say it, it's probably a bit of Liverpool, really. I mean, Ekitike, he looks lively. I thought when I've watched him over in Germany and that, and he struck me as a clumsy player, really clumsy player. You could see it a little bit, but he's looked pretty good. It's just same old, isn't it? I would hate to say it, but it's a little bit boring.
Do you think Isak signing has just done it for him?
Yeah, I mean, yeah. that's just taking him to the. He's going to absolutely. How many chances are he going to get a game like with his finishing and stuff like that? Jesus Christ. It's going to be, they potentially might walk the league. I mean, you look at Man City. You think Man City after their first game, after smashing Wolves and that, but and then you're reminded in the next game of how bad they were last season.
Yeah,
So
because I
I can
mean,
see.
you've mentioned Liverpool, and you look at two of their games so far this season. They won that really difficult game away at Newcastle when that young Rio lad stepped on. Szoboszlai from about 35-yard free kick. They've just got that knack now of just winning games. That whenever there's a problem in a game, they just overcome it, or they overcome a situation. And it's hard to live with teams that can do that.
They got so many players for moments as well. All of a sudden, you think you can cruise in the game and doing well against Liverpool, then all of a sudden, one of their star men has popped up with a moment of brilliance, and that's probably what separates them from the rest of us. But look,
What about us? How do you feel we'll react now after this? Because we are, they are probably, well, they're all aware of the bad start, and now this break, like we kind of said at the start, kind of gives us a bit of a fresh start to attack the season. Like our season starts now. How do you think we'll go from this moment now?
Yeah, I mean, we've just two massive games coming up, aren't they? In Everton, is it Sunderland? Is it? Two away games as well. So you think I think we can look kind of past them two games at the moment and have a look at our reaction. I think potentially each team has their bad spells during the Premier League or whatever, or 2 or 3 bad spells. Hopefully Villa are just having theirs now, and that'll be it. Just the first couple of games, but I generally think we'll start climbing up the table in the next few weeks. But like I say, them 2 games are absolutely massive for us. If we can get 4 points out of the next 2 games, we'll be happy with that. If it's a draw against Everton, it's a draw against Everton. They're looking quite tasty at the moment with their socks around their ankles. I think there's about 4 or 5 players that wear the socks around their ankles in it. You know what I mean? Shin pads as big as your little finger.
Yeah, right, Matt. It's been great chatting to you. Up the Villa.
Up the Villa.